Then Sean says to Sumit, "Is there anything else that you want to say to your parents?" Hey my beautiful peeps, my name is Char and welcome to Char TV. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a recap for the tell-all for 90 Day Fiance The Other Way. Before I get into that, I just want to do the shout out for the pinned comment under one of my videos. It goes out to Sylvia Lola. Your comment was absolutely beautiful. There are actually quite a bit of comments that I wish that I could pin, but you know, YouTube won't let us be great. I can only pin one. But I would also like to shout out Andrea Garcia. Your comment was beautiful. And also Bobby Jones. Your comment was really nice as well. On to the recap. I'll be starting with Corey and Evelin. Before Corey and Evelin even joined the set, Corey had mentioned that getting married was one of the best days of his life. And since then, things have gone downhill. More so for Evelin, and she did mention to him that, hey, you're on thin ice now. Because apparently, he promised her that she would know everything. And now, she's starting to find out other things that she didn't know before. Once they were seated on set, Evelin was paying some nice compliments to Ari because she was wearing a nice red dress and she did look really pretty. And she was just paying her compliments. And I've been seeing things online that Evelin, oh, she has a crush on Ari, blah, 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 blah. Can we normalize women being able to compliment one another with no hate, no anything, without any meaning behind it? There's nothing wrong with one woman complimenting another woman and it not meaning anything at all. I always pay compliments to other women. If you're looking good, I'm gonna tell you you're looking good. No hate. Looking back on the season, Corey says that, I'm gonna apologize to in advance if you hear any banging. They're doing renovations out there and it can get a little bit loud, so sorry if you're hearing a little here and there. Looking back on the season, Corey said it's been really hard and it's put a strain on their relationship. And Evelin said, you know, looking back at the season, it was really shocking to her because her feelings were, and what she was going through was very real. So it was a shock for her to see herself like that. And Corey actually got her a therapist. Now Sean says to Evelin's sisters, did you regret ordering the penis soup, which was actually bull ball soup, for Corey? And this is what they said.
No, he deserved that. It's not penis though, it's balls.
Oh,
that's so much better.
That's so much better. Okay, why do you think he deserved it?
Porque él necesita tener bolas para ser un verdadero hombre, porque no lo es.
Oh, my gosh.
The problem I have is just the motive behind it.
Evelin tried to justify the whole soup thing by saying, well, you know, eating it's not a bad thing because a lot of macho men actually eat the soup. Corey's brother said it was an immature attempt at getting back at Corey, but it was kind of funny. And Sean asked the sisters, well, how do you feel about Corey now that they're married? Leslie said, and I knew she was gonna say this, I still don't like Corey. That's not a shocker. And the reason being is because he continues to lie. He hasn't changed. And in her eyes, he's not a real man. At the end of the day, they just want Evelin to be happy, right? But they don't feel that Evelin is happy with Corey. And looking at her face all the time, she doesn't look happy. Evelin said that she loves Corey and she wishes that she didn't, but you can't help how your heart feels. Then Sean decides to ask Corey's brother how he feels about Evelin now that she's his sister-in-law.
Well, to be honest, the time that I had spent with Evelin wasn't the greatest. I feel like Corey had not a whole lot of say in this relationship. He's just trapped.
I would never trap someone to be with me because I believe in people staying and being where they want to be.
Corey said, you know, his family wasn't the nicest to Evelin, and he was able to see all that, and it upset him. And he's now become, you know, very distant with his family, whereas before, they were really close for a while. He noticed when Taylor, which is his sister-in-law, came into the family, that's kind of when the separation started to happen. And it makes Corey really sad that he's losing the relationship with his family. And his brother did admit that, you know, he feels bad for not going to the wedding, but he doesn't regret not going. And Evelin's sister said, and I feel like I agree with them. Evelin's sister said, well, you know, we don't like Corey, but we still showed up at the wedding because, you know, that's their sister and they want to support her, right? And for me, I feel like even if I didn't like one of my siblings' partner, I would still go, because that's their relationship. It's not mine. You know, I would still go and support their special day. Poor Corey. He mentions that, you know, it's been 7 years that he's been there and nobody has visited him from the family. So he feels like he's all alone. Then Steven decides to insert himself into the conversation and say,
you know, Corey's not all alone. He does have Jenny.
Oh my God. Bad attempt at humor. God.
Wow. Okay.
now Evelin, she got really upset when they played back the clip of when Corey was saying his feelings about Jenny. It made her feel confused because this guy, Corey, swore up and down on his dead father that he had no feelings for Jenny. So her seeing that clip, it made her really upset. She thought it was really disrespectful for him to swear on his father. And she's wondering, you know, what happened? This is not the Corey that she was dating before, or the Corey that she married. Corey said, you know, that he's always loved Evelin and always wanted to be with her, and yes, he has made some big mistakes and wishes that he never did. Evelin feels that she doesn't trust him and she doesn't want to be in a relationship like that. My thing is, if you don't trust him, you're not comfortable with how things are, why would you go ahead with the wedding? I know they're already married before, but why would you go ahead a second time? For me personally, I wouldn't. I don't know how you all feel. Corey reassures her that he does love her a lot and, you know, he just wants to move on.
I feel like we have tried a lot, and it's in this point where it's like way too toxic, and Corey keeps trying, and I always end up giving in because there's all this care, and we're so used to being together. It's such a vicious cycle. Maybe since we don't get a good breakup, maybe we should get a therapist to do that. You know, if we're not a good relationship, maybe we should have a therapist to break up.
She also said towards the ending of the show that maybe if she sees change, then they can continue with the marriage. I've also seen online that they did enjoy their honeymoon. I think it was it El Salvador? But they did enjoy their honeymoon. They looked like they were having a nice time. That's pretty much all for Corey and Evelin. On to Ellie and Victor. Victor is now in the US, but he doesn't want to live there permanently. He wants to bring Ellie back to Providencia to live there. He's only in the US because he can't leave because of the visa. Now, while on the stage, Hiromi, which is Ellie's best friend, joins them and admits that, you know, she's had reservations with their relationship from the beginning. And Victor cheating is a huge red flag, which she feels that Ellie obviously decided to ignore because they're still together. Now, Victor goes on to say, well, I'm not the first person in the world to cheat, and I admitted it. And then he says to the rest of the couples, well, who has never cheated here? There are people that are faithful, Victor. It seems like he's like, you know, trying to justify it by saying, well, it wasn't for love. It doesn't matter, Victor, you still cheated. Ellie feels like he's still not taking responsibility for his actions. Then Hiromi says to Ellie, do you trust him? And Ellie says,
I mean, the hesitation alone just kind of
No,
worries
I'm just
me.
trying to think of I trust him, but I think that he has an anger issue sometimes. He's going to therapy and he's trying to deal with it. But I also think he takes it out on me sometimes, and it's not fair.
Sean says, it seems like money is an issue in a relationship. It's triggering for them. Ellie said, she's helped Victor a lot, and it's hurtful when he calls her cheap, because here she is splashing out money. So clearly she's not being cheap, Victor. Victor did say that he feels bad that he can't contribute to the relationship financially because he just doesn't have the money. Ellie did admit that she's given Victor around $5,000. Personally, I don't know how you guys feel. I feel like it's more. And she just doesn't admit to it because, let's face it, it's gonna make her look stupid. The way that she went on throughout the season about money, money, money leads me to believe that, yeah, it might be more than $5,000. She feels because she has been helping him out financially that he should respect her a bit more, which he says he does. Now, Hiromi says she doesn't think that the relationship is going to last because Ellie is always going to her, crying and complaining about the relationship because they're always arguing with each other and not listening to each other. Ellie doesn't think that he listens to her, but she also said that, he probably feels the same way, that she doesn't listen to him. So that is something that they're gonna have to figure out in the relationship. That's pretty much all with Ellie and Victor. Honestly, their segment wasn't very exciting. They didn't talk very much. On to Ari and Binny. After Ari decided to stay behind and not go to Ethiopia with Binny, she realized that she could not stay away from him and decided to go with Binny to support him for his appointment. So, Binny now has his K1 visa and resides in America. Yay! I'm really glad that Ari did decide to go and support Binny. Binny said that as of today, the relationship is good and he no longer gets anxiety like he did in the past. Ari said that now Binny has seen where she lives and how it's like there, that it's been good for the relationship, and they realize that they don't need anything specific from each other. They just need to be with each other. Then Leandro joins the stage. Ari confirmed with Sean that she was still married with Leandro when she got pregnant for Binny.
You had to call and tell your husband that you were pregnant with another man's baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you remember about that conversation?
I remember it very well. I was crying and I told you, I'm pregnant, I'm really scared. Oh, you're the person that I would call in a situation where I'm not sure what to do.
Now, Binny had no idea that she was making that call, and that's why he's worried about his situation. He feels that Ari loves Leandro very much. He said that they speak on the phone in Spanish for like 2 hours, and he doesn't even understand what they're saying. Victor said, you better learn how to speak Spanish and I can help you. Binny, yeah, I think you should learn a bit of Spanish because you don't know what they're saying. Now, Leandro says, well, if I was a girl and speaking to Ari in Spanish, would that still bother you? Binny's like, well, you're her ex-husband. Leandro, you can't compare the two. That's not the same thing, my friend. Not the same. And Ari said, well, I also give advice on his relationship. Now, I wonder how his girlfriend feels about that. Is she okay with that? Sean said, do you realize that you're causing problems in their relationship? He feels that, well, that's just Binny's insecurities. And Victor said, well, how would you feel, kind of if the shoe were on the other foot?
I completely understand his jealousy and the threatening situation.
Do you think he should back off?
Oh,
Victor?
definitely, yeah, of course.
What do you say to that?
I'm very good friends with Ari, so if she tells me back off, then...
What about if I tell you back off?
Well, she has to tell me. she is her own individual, and she needs to make that decision.
Now, I feel if you're such a good friend and you see that it's causing problems, you should be like, hey, this is my good friend. I don't want to cause any problems in the relationship, so I'm just gonna back away for a bit, you know? And Ari as well should be like, hey, you know, we need to figure something out, you know, so that my man is not uncomfortable. Sean asked the other couples if they feel that Leandro should back off. Many of them agreed. How do you feel? At this point, Wish and Mimi joined the stage, and they did say that, you know, they miss their brother. Ari thought that Benny was cheating on her for many reasons, such as not picking up the phone, not replying to her text messages. Benny said, well, Ari knows about my anxiety. And when she left, he didn't want to think about if she's coming back or not, because it was stressful and they were fighting a lot, so it was just best that he didn't answer the phone.
Ari, you said that Wish, Benny's sister, told you he was cheating on you.
She asked me, can I sleep over the house? And then because she was mad, she thought like I didn't want her there. So then she said, well, why do you care? There's so many other girls sleeping there at the house anyways.
I never told her specifically. She told it like, yeah, people come in, and she come in, it was a party. That's how the conversation started.
Then Sean asked Ari if she thought that Benny was cheating on her. And she said, well, there were a lot of girls, you know, in and out of the house. She doesn't know if he cheated, but she doesn't think that he did. Now, Mimi feels that the nanny was a big part of the problem for their relationship because she was giving Ari bad advice. Ari said, well, no, that she's actually not the reason. She's a big part of why they're still together, because she said, you know, stick it out because you love each other. Wish said that Ari is always letting people meddle in their relationship and surrounding herself with people that she knows Benny does not like. Ari said that Benny loves the nanny very much, and Wish said no he doesn't. Ari said to Benny, tell them how much you like the nanny and that she's, you know, like family to them. I guess this kind of irritated Wish because she's like, stop forcing him. I guess like he can speak for himself. Ari said, I'm not forcing him, but you just said that I involve other people in the relationship, so why don't y'all stop involving yourself in our relationship? Ooh.
Well, always tried to poison my mind against your brother. You never wanted this relationship to work out. Guess what? I never, ever want to speak to either of you again. You guys are pathetic.
Can we talk?
You are not my family. I do not want you in my life. They're just jealous. They'll just never change. That's who they are.
And the kind of personality.
Sean says to Benny, what were your sisters saying? And Benny explained that the nanny and Ari were best friends. Wish said they are best friends and that they're always talking behind Benny's back, and he knows that. Sean said to Benny, well, do you feel that Ari tells too much of, you know, their business to people? Benny says, well, Ari tells him what's up when they're fighting, and then the nanny will listen and she would tell other people. And then Wish kind of let the cat out the bag and said to Benny, well, you even told us that you wanted a new nanny and that you didn't want to involve her in the relationship. And they were actually trying to help him with finding a nanny. Oh.
What happened? That woman, Wish, she's the only person telling me negative things about her brother. Even telling me there's women staying in your house. Who can believe her? She wants to destroy this relationship. The nanny? She's an amazing human being, much better than they'll ever be. It's disgusting.
Sean asked Benny, whose fault do you think this is? Ari or his sisters? He feels like, you know, this is a girl problem. And the sisters are like, no, this is your family's problem. Benny says, you know, they always fight all the time and then, you know, they make up. Because they're family. Wish said, you know, they love him and they have a strong connection, but she doesn't want to talk to Ari anymore. And if Ari makes him happy, then go ahead, because she doesn't want Avi to be without mother and father together. But at the same time, she can't watch as Ari destroys the marriage. Ari decides to come back on stage. I guess she cooled down a little bit, but she doesn't want to see them or carry on a conversation because she feels that there's no point because Wish and Mamie are not being honest. She said that she's tried so many times, you know, so many different ways to build a relationship with them, and it's just not happening. The sisters leave the call and Ari says that, you know, the nanny has been with them since Avi was born and she's seen so much in their relationship. She's her friend and she has nothing but goodness in her heart.
Many times I did want to break up with Biniyam and I wanted to leave him because we had so many problems, and she saw the way things were and she helped me to stick it out when I really didn't want to. So for them to say that she's talking negative about him, they're lying. Wish has always tried to sabotage the relationship. Avi's nanny wanted this relationship to succeed. She loves Biniyam and she loves me.
They want to protect me.
Ari says, they're not my sisters or my family. Ari does not feel that things can be fixed the same way as Binny does. I don't know about that one. Now, Binny says he wants to marry Ari. He's gonna need his sister's blessings. Oh my gosh, is this gonna be another Jenny and Sumit situation? That's everything with Ari and Binny. Got a little bit of explosive, but I feel like from day one, the sisters and Ari have been butting heads, so hopefully they can figure things out because they're always gonna be around. It's Binny's sisters. They're not gonna go anywhere. Guess we'll just have to see. On to my favorite couple, Jenny and Sumit. Jenny feels that now they can finally breathe. They stuck by each other's side and never gave up. Jenny girl, you have the patience of a saint. Sumit said, you know, nobody can stop them or break them up because they're married now. And Jenny says, yeah, nobody can throw me out of India. Now Sean says to Sumit, do your parents know that you're married? To which Sumit said no.
Oh. We were so afraid that if he went ahead and told them, they would have came and stopped it and we wouldn't be married right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're thinking that maybe I'm going to tell them today.
Today? Oh my God.
It scared me a lot.
It scares us both a lot.
Yeah.
True.
So at that point, that's when Sean decided to bring the parents in on the conversation. Let's see if he tells them. She does say that, you know, they haven't heard the discussion thus far, but they're all here to support him. And Evelin was kind enough to say, you know, they'll understand that it's your happiness. They will be disappointed, but you know, they'll look past it. It was nice to see that they were giving words of encouragement to Sumit because that's not an easy thing to tell his parents. We all know they're gonna not be very happy. Sean asked Jenny how she felt after seeing the things that Sumit's parents had said about her after they just had said, we accept Jenny. Jenny thought that it was wrong what they were saying because she was actually happy that day and thought that things would be okay going forward. Well, you thought wrong. But in reality, it only took about 3 months for things to go back how they were, and it was like everything that was said, you know, about accepting blah 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 was forgotten. Well, to be honest, I'm not surprised. Sumit said his mom was like calling him to say things to him.
He was asking me to send Jenny back and come back and live with your family.
It didn't last long. Those words didn't last.
The astrologer said to get out of the way. Let them be happy. Aren't you going against what the astrologer told you to do?
And then Sean said to her, well, would it be okay if Jenny and Sumit were married? And Sumit's mom said, well, I wouldn't like that or accept that. Oh boy, Sumit, when you tell your mama, whoo, I'll pray for you. Now, Sumit's brother and his wife are on the call. His brother said, in the perspective of love, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you consider the parents, well, then it's wrong. Oh boy, this is the point where Kenny chimes in, which I'm sure probably by now you've probably seen clips, but Kenny chimes in and says, well, the mother has thrown everything at the relationship for the past 10 years for it to break up.
He's even gotten married to someone else. And it almost gets to the point of cruelty to them.
I think this is more of, generation gap that is creating this kind of situation. But none of the parents can be cruel to their children.
I disagree.
Everything needs time.
Kenny chimes in again and says, well, I've given them 10 years though of trying to stop it. So that's the definition of cruel. Well, Sean wants to stir the pot a little bit more and says, well, what if they said, well, you know, it's too bad that we don't have your blessing, but we're gonna get married anyway. The father said, well, why do they need acceptance for the certificate of marriage? They're living together already, so kind of like what's the problem? They're not stopping them from living together. They already live together. So why do they need to get married? And Jenny was like, well, why do people get married? They love each other, right? I mean, that's why people get married. Kenny chimes in again and says to the brother, well, what if the parents told you that you couldn't marry your wife? What would happen then? The brother says, well, it depends, and I wouldn't marry. Now, Sumit's sister-in-law said, you know, she doesn't really know how to react because that situation has never occurred for them. Then Sean says to Sumit, is there anything else that you want to say to your parents? It's like she's trying to push him to say, hey, I'm married.
No, I cannot, no.
All right, well, I was hoping we'd get some kind of resolution here, but it doesn't seem like we're going to get that today. So, Sadhna, Anil, Amit, and Shri, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Well, Sean says, well, you're on a timeline now because they're going to find out that you're married. Ari said, yeah, that and everybody knew and they didn't. So that's gonna make it seem even worse. Sean said, well, your mama's gonna be mad. Yeah, she is gonna be furious. I would love to be a fly on the wall when Sumit does tell his parents that he's married. But Sumit said that he'd rather tell the parents in person. And I feel like something like that, yeah, I feel like it should be face to face. He should have told them a long time ago, okay? That's everything to Jenny and Sumit and this recap. It was okay. There was a couple of explosive moments. It was all right. You know, I've been seeing online that people thought it was boring. And oh my gosh, that's what I had to mention as well. People, there seems to be some hate on Sean. People think that she is hella boring. I don't know how you feel about her. She's all right. I mean, at the end of the day, she probably has a guideline that she has to abide by, right? She's just doing her job. I mean, sometimes, yeah, it can be a bit dry, but I mean, she's just doing her job at the end of the day. But let me know your thoughts on her. Overall, the season was all right. There was a few dry spots, you know. I found myself tuning out. The tell-all, it wasn't so bad. I do hope that Sumit tells his parents, stop, you're a grown-ass man, okay? Tell your parents you're married. They're not gonna be happy, but hey, tell them. Ari and Binny, I'm glad that things are working out for them now that Binny is in the US. I do stalk their social media and they seem to be very, very happy. Corey and Evelin, I don't know. I feel that she's not gonna ever get over this whole the Jenny situations. I don't feel that it was a good idea for them to get married because she hasn't gotten over what Corey has done, and it seems like that's gonna haunt them for a good amount of time. I guess we'll see about that. As for Ellie and Victor, I wish you the best of luck, dear. That's all I gotta say about that. Let me know your thoughts on the tell-all and as well as the season as a whole. I love to see your comments. And especially, I'd like to pin one of your comments too and give you a shout out. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I will also be recapping before the 90 days. So get your popcorn ready. You know I'll definitely be talking about Soulja Boy. Can't wait for that. Thanks for watching, my beautiful peeps, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye.